What is going on, everyone? Jim here, RC4wd. Little project today, working on some Rc4wd drive 1.9 Super Swapper Interco Irok tires and putting in a custom tread pattern onto these tires. Looking at the tires, awesome looking tire, very scale looking appearance to it. Very soft compound as well, which also kind of makes it a pain in the butt for trimming, but we'll get into that here in a second. The reason I'm trimming these tires, everybody, is these tires work great in dry conditions. Not so good in wet conditions. They load up like mad. I had the TF2 out the other day, was getting stuck left and right on our sand hills with it just because the tires were loading up and couldn't clear out. So I decided to cut a new tread pattern into them. I figured I'd show you guys how we went about that. Now there's two different ways that you can do this tread pattern on the tire, and it's not going to work out the same on both sides of the tire. If we look at our front facing edge of the tire, we have these longer lugs and the shorter lug. Longer lug, shorter lugs. Longer lug, shorter lugs. And that alternates around the face of the tire. Unfortunately, the way you start trimming these tires, either you're going to have that long lug on the outside of the tire or the long lug on the inside of the tire, depending on where you start and how you want to look. And if you want that long lug on the outside of the tire, then you need to start on the back edge of the tire when you're trimming and start cutting the long lug off on the back side of the tire. And when you come around to the front half of the tire, you will have that long lug facing on this side, just because that pattern is alternating as it goes around. And if you want the long lug on the back side of the tire, then you have to start by trimming the long side on the front side of the tire. And then you'll end up with a long lug on the back half of it. So taking a look at some tires that are already trimmed. This set right here, I started on the back edge of the tire by trimming off the long lug, and that left us our long lug on the front edge of the tire. And we can see on the back edge of the tire here, the only thing we have left on the back edge is our short lugs. Now on the other side of the vehicle, I did that a little bit differently. And I started trimming the long lugs off the front facing side of the tire first, which left us with all the short lugs on the front and all the long lugs on the back half. One thing you have to keep in mind with these Rc4wd drive tires in particular, it's very easy to cut through the sidewall. The tread is very gummy, and it's extremely easy, once again, to go through the sidewall. So before we get started, I like to do a little disclaimer before we get started. If you decide to take a pair of scissors to your tires, it is your responsibility. It's my responsibility for trimming my tires, your responsibility for trimming your tires. If I cut too deeply and poke a hole in my tire, that's my fault, my responsibility. I'm going to have to buy another tire. Same for you. Your scissors, your tires, your vehicle. You're the one operating the scissors. If you cut a hole through your tire, that's not my fault, everybody. So take it upon yourself. It is a do-it-your-own risk kind of situation here. And I did, in fact, poke a hole through one of the tires. This one right here, I did cut a hole right through that guy, which is around here somewhere. Oh, there we go. Right here is our little hole in the tire. You'll see the foam down below. So that was my one little snafu right there, with one tire out of the group. Since I made that little mistake, I'm going to have to sacrifice a tire for my Bronco, for my Rc4 Bronco. That way I can have a complete set of tires on my TF2, and I'll just have to go out and buy another one of these tires. Fortunately, Rc4wd Drive, with many of their tires, they do sell single tires as a spare tire. So I can probably go out and buy just one of these tires as it is to fix my little problem. Otherwise, I would have to buy another set of tires. I'm trying to match up the rest of these as I have it on the passenger side of the vehicle, or on the driver's side of the vehicle, I should say. And that is by trimming the long lug first off of the outside portion of the tire, the part that you see. So that's how I've been going about with this little process here. And you have to be very careful about doing this stuff. Once again, see where I left off here on the back edge of the tire, going every other lug here. I start off right here by trimming off this little side piece, this little side lug right there, and working our way up, which is very difficult to do on camera, that is for sure, without cutting through the tire. You want to make sure you have a good set of scissors for doing this. I'm using a set of Duratrax curved body scissors. And you also want to make sure that you have good lighting, excellent lighting, and possibly even a set of reading glasses if you're getting a little bit older and have a hard time seeing detail at close up. I'm cutting with the scissors on the surface of the tire, kind of pinching the tire upward slightly as I remove that lug. Just that simple. there is a little bit of rubber sticking up here on either side, just a little chunk sticking up on either end. And sometimes I'll come in here and I'll try to shave that a little bit closer after the fact. But you got to be careful that you don't cut too deeply, because once again, very easy, especially with the Rc4wd drive tires, to go right through the sidewall and through the tire. And once again, wrecking a set of tires. And to start out on a fresh tire right here, knowing where to start on any of these tires is kind of difficult as well. Trying to end up with our short row on the outside and our long lug row on the inside. So I'm going to start right here by trimming off one of these long lugs on the front edge of the tire. That is going to be my starting point. Cruising right up the sidewall here, removing that outer piece. Making sure to keep the scissors nice and flat on the edge of the tire as I work my way around to the top edge. There's one of our long lugs removed. Now going into the front here, this will be the next one as we're looking at it. See where we cut off that lug there. We want to leave this lug and this lug right here to give us a little bit of a hook. So this one needs to be removed. So pinch up the tire, come in here and trying to cut right down the middle. Once again, keeping the tire's scissors flush with the top of the tire, just like so. So we've got that one removed. Now trying to find a corresponding one on the other side can be difficult as well, so you might want to just go right back to the same side that you started on, move back one lug back here, skip a row, and take out this next one. Just so you can start getting a pattern cut in on one side. It'll make it easier for matching up the other side. And I'll show you that here in a second. Here we go. Once again, now we got to trim out, rolling the tire, flipping the tire around, just so we can get an easier bite on the center, next lug in the center. This guy right here. Coming right up the center, just like so. Right, so looking at our tire, we've got our gap right here. So what I want to do is I want to leave a lug. I want to try to match that gap, kind of stagger it a little bit. The next lug that I want to take off is this one right here. I want to have a lug on this side, no lug on this side, lug here, lug here. So this is one right here. This is the one we're going to remove. I'm going to leave this one here, go straight across the tire, and take out this one. Coming up the sidewall. Easier to start on the outer sidewall there and work your way around to the top. Starting at the thinnest portion of the lug and working your way around to the fattest portion of it. Just like so. Flipping the tire back around so we can take out that center lug right there. Yeah, see how gummy that is? That's some gummy rubber for the Rc4wd drives. So now we can stagger another lug forward here. Go on to this next one. Get this guy out of the way. This is the next one that we need to take off, this guy right in front. So I'm spinning the tire around, pinching it up. Try and get a good bite on that lug. And there we have it. She has been removed. Now we have our basic pattern started. It's just a matter of continuing that all the way around. And as a look at our trimmed down Interco Irok Super Swamper from Rc4wd drive. And after you're done, it almost looks like a set of stomper tires from an old school stomper. So they ought to work out great. They definitely have way more flex than they had to begin with. You can tell they are super flexible. These are pretty flexible as well, even with all the treads on them. But once again, we just removed half of the rubber off of the tire, so we just gained all kinds of flexibility with it. We should be gaining all kinds of traction as well, just because we have this huge open gap in between all the treads. So these babies ought to clean out nicely. We'll see when we take it back out on the course. So that's going to do it, everyone. Very much appreciated for y'all sticking around and watching the video, and we will see you all on the next one.